NBA player props here on PrizePicks for Friday, March 10th. Before we get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you guys can use promo code TUFF to sign up. PrizePicks will match 100% of your first deposit. There is a Discord link in the description where the main server is completely free. We do also have that Patreon link in the description where I post all the plays here that I'm making on PrizePicks for each given sport that I do play. I do also need to mention I'm not a gambling expert, and this is not financial advice. These are simply just the plays I'm personally looking at making, hopefully giving you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But let's get right into it, you guys. We have a smaller slate today, 6 games on the slate today. We had 6 games yesterday, so kind of surprising here for Friday, but we do have that 6-pick 30x multiplier on PrizePicks. So again, if you're not yet on PrizePicks, link is in the description below to sign up or use promo code TUFF. But let's get right into it, you guys. 6 game slate. The first play I'm targeting here is going to be Clint Capella over 21.5 points plus rebounds. Now we have been taking this. We took this play, I believe, earlier in the week. I believe it was either a YouTube video play or a Patreon play here, but 21.5 points plus rebounds. He just faced Washington and he did let us down here. So taking a look at this game, it's a 1.5 point spread, right? Both teams looking like they're fully healthy. 1.5 point spread with a 238 over under, which is a massive over under here for us. Maybe the biggest over under on the day. Yeah, the largest over-under on the day at 238 with a 1.5 point spread. We can see Clint Capella here, points plus rebounds game log this season. He just had 16 PR against Washington at Washington, which is the same scenario today. He played 25 minutes in that matchup. He went 4 for 7, 5 for 6 from the free throw line, which you love to see, but he had 4 personal fouls. He was really in a ton of foul trouble. He didn't play his normal workload in the first half, which definitely affects him. He is kind of a first half type of player, especially if Washington kind of decides to go small. And things like that. But with Porzingis and Daniel Gafford in the front court, I think they're going to have to play Capella here in this matchup. But before that matchup, in 4 straight games with Quinn Snyder as the head coach, he had hit in 28, 23, 29, and 22 PR over the last 4 games. I mean, he had 13 points in this matchup, which if he just hit his average, or even below his average on the season, his rebounding, he had 3 rebounds, which may be his lowest rebounding number all season. 3 rebounds is absolutely insane, which is crazy considering, he faced Washington again, that first game with Quinn Snyder as the head coach, and he had 28 PR in that matchup. He had 13 points and 15 rebounds in that matchup for 28 PR. He did play 35 minutes in that matchup, but still 15 rebounds. All we need, even last game, he had 13 points. If he could get us 9 rebounds, this play would have hit. Some recent centers, points plus rebounds game log against the Washington Wizards. You can see here, this is a pretty high hit rate if you consider some of these players and their offensive roles on their team. Robinson, Turner, Wiseman had 26 PR in 34 minutes. Claxton 28, Capella 28, like we talked about. Vucevic 29, Jared Allen 31, Podol 36, and then Rudy Gobert had 36 as well. So this has extremely high hit rate against Washington. If we take a look at Washington kind of against the center position, over the last 15 games or so, they are giving up a decent amount of points. They're kind of middle in the pack here. Where are they? Yeah, right here, 21 and 15 to the center position. So pretty much middle of the pack over the last 15. If we take a look at over the course of the full season, Washington is up here in the top 10. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th most points to the center position on the season here. Some great odds for us here as well. I think at 21.5, minus 145 on DraftKings. The consensus line is over 21.5, minus 145. So some great odds here to go over. This line has hit in 9 of the last 15 games. And if we take a look at the previous lines here, this PR line for Capella was at 27.5 against Charlotte, been consistently kind of at 22.5 all season long, was even up here at 23.5 against Utah. So at 21.5, I think we do get some value with the highest over-under on the day. I expect this game to be high scoring. Again, I just expect Clint Capella to come out and grab boards. I don't think, this is his absolute floor in my opinion at 16. So I think he has a bounce back game here, going right back to him. Overall on the season, this has a high hit rate as well. You can see how many games he's hit 22 or more PR. Great matchup for Capella, high over under. I'm going back to him here. Great odds for us as well, minus 145. Clint Capella over 21.5 PR is the first play. And then the second play is going to be an NBA first half prop. And one of our wagons kind of been like this all season long for us. He's kind of been off a little bit lately, but I'm going to him here in an elite matchup. Nikola Jokic over 22.5 points, rebounds, plus assists in the first half. Now, Nikola Jokic, if we take a look at his PRA game log this season, he's had 2 absolute stinkers, right? like 16 against Toronto. They locked him up. He could do nothing. And then they just lost to the Bulls at home, where he had 20 PRA in the first half, 9, 6, and 5. He's just not aggressive. Like, he's taking 3 field goal attempts in the first half here, 5 field goal attempts in the first half here. I know he's a fast pass first player. He does always like to make the right play, which you do, love to see. I love to see that from an MVP caliber player. But for him to be taking these many attempts in a losing effort just doesn't make sense to me. So his PRA game log, though, this is an extremely high hit rate. You can see, I mean, the floor is just so high for this. He's had at least 20 PRA in the first half in 20 of his last 25 games. And he's actually hit the over on this in 17 of his last 25 games this season. And, I mean, the matchup, you can't get more elite of a matchup than the San Antonio Spurs here. Now, this game is being played in San Antonio, which I do think that will help keep the game somewhat competitive. I mean, at least in the first half. That's why I'm taking first half here. I mean, it's a 12.5 point spread with a massive 236 over under as well. We know the Spurs don't really play much defense. But if we take a look at the matchup, I mean, the Spurs on the season giving up let's even break this down to the last 15. The Spurs giving up the third most points to the center position, the fourth most rebounds to the center position, the most steals to the center position. Even if we break this down any number, right? Second most rebounds, fifth most points. Like, the Spurs get cooked by the center position, and for the most part of the season they had Jakob Poeltl, and now they have Zach Collins, and Zach Collins is way worse defensively. He's got to be one of the worst defensive centers. He gets stocks and stuff like that, but he's got to be one of the worst defensive centers in the NBA. Here we can see Jokic's 2 games this season versus the Spurs. Way back in November, he had 24 PRA at San Antonio in this same situation in only 16 minutes in that first half. He was aggressive, 5 for 10, 0 for 3 from the field, but aggressive in that first half, right? He has 14 points. The peripheral stats are going to be there. His rebounds plus assists in the first half are always going to be hovering around 10. It comes really down to the points here for Nikola Jokic to hit this line. We can see here his full game PRA game line has some juice on the over at minus 121 at over 45.5 here. But the Nuggets coming off a loss at home, right? A loss at home. They're 8-2. Over the last 10, but they lost at home, and that was only their 5th loss of the season at home. I think with a day of rest, traveling to San Antonio here with the most elite matchup possible, I think Jokic really locks in, comes out aggressive, tries to establish himself. I mean, there is honestly rumblings about him being, not possibly winning that MVP based on his play as of late. Embiid is right there. Obviously, Jason Tatum's right there. Luka's right there. So I think he kind of wants to reestablish himself into that MVP race, and this is a great matchup to do so. So these are the 2 plays here. It's going to be Clint Capella over 21.5 PR and Nikola Jokic over 22.5 PRA in the first half. Again, you don't have to play these 2 in a 2-man power. These are 2 separate plays here, you guys. I want to reiterate that. Like, you don't need to play these 2 in a 2-man power here. But again, let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about these 2. Drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.